Okay, guys, good morning. It's your teacher, Woman, again. Um, Welcome to your second feature class for 6th level, unit number 5, Samuel 1. So, today we're going to continue working on unit number 5. So, and I'm going to basically explain some vocabulary things, and then we're going to go to the grammar part, the second grammar part for this unit. We're going to start working on page 54, please. Let's go there. In exercise 8, we have the vocabulary ways to respond to jokes and other funny things. Okay, when you think something is funny, you have different ways to answer. We have that's so funny, that's hysterical, that's hilarious, that's too much. But when we use that's hysterical or that's hilarious, it's because something is extremely funny. It makes you laugh a lot. Okay. Well, on the contrary, if you don't understand what's funny about something, then you can say I don't get it, which means like I don't understand. Or you can also say that went over my head, which means that you didn't understand anything. Also, when you think a joke is really heavy or something like that, then you can say that's ridiculous or that's silly, that's offensive. But anyway, you gotta be careful because this can be rude and hurt the joke teller's feelings, as it says, because you know that people sometimes they joke around and they don't have like offensive intentions when they joke, but sometimes we have to tell them in some contests. Okay, so we're gonna listen to 6 different conversations here. After each one, check yes or no and indicate whether the listener thought it was funny. Then listen again and write your own response to each joke using the vocabulary. Okay, here you have the answers. Did the listener think it was funny? Obviously, you have the answers here, but anyway, you're gonna check the listening. But what I want you to do, look at it here, it says answers will vary your own response to the joke. So what I want you to do is to complete this, and tomorrow we're gonna review when we have our online meeting, okay, on Skype. So we're gonna listen to this conversation, and then we're gonna go to the grammar part.
Listen to 6 conversations. After each one, check yes or no to indicate whether the listener thought it was funny. Conversation 1.
I saw this incredibly funny video someone posted on Facebook.
What was it about?
Well, these 2 guys wanted to have some fun, so they went out and bought one of those benches. You know, the kind they have in the park where people sit and have their lunch, read the paper, whatever.
Yeah, a park bench?
Right. So the 2 guys carry the bench to the park and put it down in a place where you'd see a park bench. And they sit down and take out some sandwiches they brought and sit there like they're just having lunch. Normal.
Okay, so...
Well, they waited until they see a policeman walking in their direction. Then they pick up the bench and start running away with it like they're stealing it. One guy at each end of the bench.
You're kidding. What happened?
So the cop sees them and yells, "Hey, where do you guys think you're going with that bench?" One guy says, "It's our bench." The cop says, "You guys are under arrest."
No way!
No, listen. At that point, the second guy takes the sales receipt for the bench out of his pocket. And of course, what could the cop do? Pretty funny, right? It really was their bench. Pretty funny, right?
I don't know. Maybe it went over my head.
Conversation 2.
Have you ever heard a knock-knock joke?
A knock-knock joke? What's that?
It's a typical American joke, kind of a play on words about a name.
Okay. How do they go?
So one person is supposed to be knocking on the door. The jokes always start with one person saying knock knock. Then the other person answers, "Who's there?" Then the first person gives a first name and...
Okay, I get it. Hit me.
Okay. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana. Now you say banana who?
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Okay. Orange who?
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
That's the joke?
Yeah, isn't it funny? Get it? Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
No offense, but I think that's silly.
Conversation 3.
Want to hear a great joke?
Sure, shoot.
A guy wants to park his car, so he drives up to a policeman and says, "I'm looking for a parking place. Can I park here?" The policeman says, "No." So the guy asks, "Well, what about all these other cars?" The cop says, "They didn't ask."
They didn't ask? That's too much. Conversation 4.
Did you hear the one about the couple with the perfect marriage?
No.
Well, he's deaf and she's blind.
What's that supposed to mean?
Get it? He's deaf and she's blind.
That's really offensive.
Well, I guess it's a little politically incorrect.
Conversation 5.
Know any good jokes?
Yeah, here's a good one. An old man goes into a restaurant and orders some soup, and the waiter brings it to him.
And?
Well, after a minute, the old man calls the waiter over and says, "I want you to taste my soup." The waiter says, "Is it cold?" The old man says, "No, it's fine. I just want you to taste it."
How weird.
So the waiter says, "Oh, I can't do that, sir, but I'd be happy to get you another bowl if there's something wrong." So again, the old man says, "I said it's fine. I just want you to taste it."
So?
So finally, the waiter says, Okay, I'll taste your soup. Where's the spoon?" The old man says, "Aha."
That's it?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
What do you mean you don't get it? Aha. He didn't have a spoon.
Oh. That's pretty silly if you ask me. Sorry.
Conversation 6.
Hey, you know the one about the woman who calls her lawyer?
No. How does it go?
She calls her lawyer, and the man who answers says, "Smith, Smith, Smith and Smith."
Smith, Smith, Smith and Smith? That's so weird. What does that mean?
It's the name of the law firm. There are 4 lawyers named Smith. They're all partners.
Okay. So,
So, the woman says, let me talk to Mr. Smith. He says, "I'm sorry, he's on vacation." Then let me talk to Mr. Smith. He says, he's on a big case, not available for a week. Then let me talk to Mr. Smith. He says, he's away, he's playing golf today. Okay, then let me talk to Mr. Smith. Speaking.
now that's funny.
Now listen again and write your own response to each joke.
Okay, what we're gonna do here is that you're gonna stop the video and you're gonna replay the video in the part of the listening section so that you will be able to listen again. So because then it takes too long. Okay. As I told you, I want you to complete that part, and then we're gonna check it tomorrow when we have our online class. So we're gonna continue with the grammar part, which is reporting questions. Okay, in the previous video, I told you that, or I was talking about the way that we report. I was talking about the way that we report sentences or what someone else said. Okay, so in this case, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna learn how to report, or we're going to review how to report questions, because I think this is a topic that maybe you saw in 3rd, 4th, or 5th level. Okay, so we're gonna review this and we're gonna work on this. So we're gonna read first here, and then we're gonna go to another explanation that I have for you. It says indirect questions are kind of embedded questions. You remember embedded questions that we saw like last week, I think. Yeah, that it was last week. I told you that with embedded questions we don't usually use the current, or let's say we don't use the common infinitive form for questions. What we do is that we write it as a statement. Okay, a question that is included in a noun clause. Indirect yes/no questions begin with if or whether or not it's also possible. Okay, pay attention to this. Someone in the direct speech, someone asks. For example, this: he asks did you find the joke funny? So as you can see here, this person is using did you. Okay, did you find? So the inverted question form that we normally use. But in this case, look at this. We don't use that inverted form here. We say he asked if. First of all, we use if. And as you can see here, we have choose the normal structure of a statement. I had found. Okay? Why do we use I had found? Because the question is in past. Okay, so it backshifts or the tense changes into the past perfect form. Okay? Another example, we say he asked whether. Okay, this is another one that we can also use. We can say whether or not. Okay, I have found the joke funny. Okay, this is the way that we report questions in English in the reporter speech. Teacher, can we say he asked? Can we say this? Let me. Here. Teacher, can we say this? He asked if had I found the joke funny. Okay, look at this. Let me change the color because I think it's not possible to. Okay, it's here. Okay. He asked if I have found the joke funny. Okay, in this, if had I found, in this case it is wrong because we never use this inverted form here. If I found is also wrong. We have to say if I had, because from simple past it changes into the past perfect form. Okay, good. So look at this second example here. We say my boss asked me, "Goma, were you able to finish the project yesterday?" As you can see, these both are yes/no questions. So for yes/no questions, we use the inverted form here. Did? Oh my God, I'm sorry. So as you can see here, we say were you able to finish? So, but in this case, look, we say my boss asked if or whether I had been. So look at the different structures that we have here. So in the first one, we have the question form, were you able? And in the second one, we just write it as a statement. Teacher, why do we write I had been able? Because remember that we change the tense with backshift. It means that it's like if you decreased one tense. If you say something in present, then you have to set it in past. In this case, it is in past, you have to set it in past perfect. Okay? So it is a yes/no question, so we use if or whether. Okay? We use if or whether. For example, here. Uh, this case, we can use for yes, no questions. We can use if or whether. Okay? Both are possible. If or whether. Okay, is it clear? Good. Let's go to the second part, which is here on the next page. It says indirect information questions. Okay, in this case we have information questions, which is basically the same as WH questions. Okay, when we say, let me write it here. When we talk about WH questions. Okay, good. So as you can see here, we have she asked, how did, so we say, how did you respond? How did you respond? That's a normal um, information question structure. But as you can see here, in the reporter question, we say she asked how I had responded. So we don't use the common inverted question form because that's not a question. It's a reported question. Okay, so we say people often ask Nora, how many years have you? So we say, how many years have you been studying? So in the reporter question, we say people often ask Nora how many years she has been. We don't have the inverted form, we just have the statement structure because that's not a question, that's an embedded question. Okay, an embedded question, which is a reported question. Look at this. It says embedded questions always have statements not inverted order. So do not use do, does, or did. For example, my friend asked what movie I wanted to see, but we never say this way. My friends asked what movie did I want. We don't say this. Did I want? This is wrong. We say what movie I wanted to see. Okay, good. I hope it's clear. Okay, let's go to this part, which is another explanation that I put for you. Okay, give me a minute. Okay. Um, it says reported questions, commands, and requests. But we're just gonna see questions. It says, today I want to talk about piracy and music. What is piracy? Piracy is the act of stealing an artist's work without any intention of paying for it. Okay, in the reported questions, it said reported question order is the same. This is the same as in statements. So pay attention to this structure. We say he or she asked if, you can use if, whether, or any WH word. Subject and verb plus complement. So we say he asked if we were feeling hungry. So maybe in this case, we say this, pay attention. Maybe the question here was this. Maybe the question here was, are you feeling hungry? Okay. This was the question, are you feeling hungry? So it's a yes no question and it is in present, so we change it. We back shift the question into past. Okay, are you feeling hungry? So we say he asked if we were feeling hungry. So in the second one it says she asked what piracy was. So maybe the question was what is piracy? So we say she asked what piracy was. So in this case we're using if, and in the second one we're using a WH question. The word order above is fixed. She asked what was piracy. It's wrong because we said what piracy was. We do not use auxiliary do, does, or did in responding questions. In reported, questions. They asked the driver where did the bus stop. So we say they asked the driver where the bus stopped. Okay. So we introduce indirect closed yes/no questions with if or whether. As we saw in the book, we say Lester wondered. Wonder, is to ask to yourself. To ask yourself something. Sorry. So we say if or whether there was anything better in life. So in this case, you can use if or whether when you are reporting a yes/no question. Okay, but pay attention to this. We can present alternatives with whether or if or not. We can put or not immediately after whether, but not immediately after if. What does it mean? That we can say Deborah asked whether or not this is possible. We can say whether or not there was a lift in the apartment block. Or we can also say Deborah asked whether there was a lift in the apartment block or not. Or we can also say Deborah asked if there was a lift in the apartment block or not. But what we can never do is this. We can never say if or not. That's not possible, okay? This is wrong. We can say if blah 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 or not, which is different. But with whether we can say whether or not, or we can say whether blah 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 or not, as an example. So what else? In indirect open questions, we use the question word sometimes. The nurse asked when exactly the pain had started. So in this case, maybe the question in the direct speech is when did the pain start? So maybe this is the question, the direct form. When did the pain start? So what we do here is to delete this and change into past perfect. Okay, when the pain had started. When, okay, this case is exactly, it's just an adverb. When exactly the pain had started. Okay. So pay attention to this. We report negative questions which express surprise or criticism with a functional verb. So this is basically when the question is not exactly a question. When the speaker wants to express something using a question. For example, in this first one, we say, "Wasn't the play fantastic?" That person is exclaiming something. She is not asking. It's like when you go to a concert and then next day you say like, "Hey, isn't the concert yesterday fantastic?" And everybody says like, "Yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun. Sorry, and it was great." So in that case, it's not correct to say she asked if the play hadn't been fantastic because that's not what she wanted to say. We say she exclaimed that the play had been fantastic. In the second one, I think it's clearer. It says, "Isn't the rule stupid?" It's like when you say like when you criticize something, isn't that decision silly or something like that? Then you say he complained that the rule was stupid. Okay, so in this case, what this person is trying to say using this question is that the rule was stupid. So he's complaining about something. So that's why we say he complained that the rule was stupid. Okay. Good. So we're gonna go back to the book and we're gonna try to practice exercise F, same page, page 55, exercise F. Once again, the answers are here, but I'm going to you can stop the video and do the exercises individually and consciously. I mean, you can just copy and paste the answers, but you won't practice anything. So please stop the video, then you do the exercise, and then you play it again because I'm going to continue. Okay. So the answers are: number one, the teacher asked her students, "Can you tell me what the joke is about?" So as you can see here, we have an embedded question. Can you tell me what the joke is about? So in this case, when we report, we would say the teacher asked her students if they could. So as you can see here, we change can by could. Tell her what the joke was about. Okay. Number 2, Barry sometimes asks himself, how would I react if someone told an offensive joke? The question is, how would I? So in this case, we say Barry sometimes asked himself how he would react. Instead of saying how would he, no, we say how he would, because remember that we use the statement structure. In number 3, we say Lisa asked her boyfriend, should you have laughed at that offensive joke? So Lisa asked her boyfriend if he should have laughed at that offensive joke. Number 4, Dan asked his wife, have you finished reading that book of jokes? Dan asked his wife if she had finished. Okay, not if had she finished, no, if she had finished, because it's the statement structure, like an affirmative sentence. Okay. Okay. Number 5, Vivian asked me, which is the best website for funny animal videos? So Vivian asked me what the best website for funny animal videos was or is. So in this case, we can use both. We can use was or is, because we go to this part here and we say, it says that sometimes we can use is in the present or was in the past, and both are correct when something was just said, or when something is still true or is general truth. But in this case, it's something that was just said. So we say what the best website for funny animal videos is. Okay. So we're gonna practice here the conversation. Melanie, look, your name is in the conversation. Okay. We're gonna practice the conversation. Okay.
Read and listen. Notice the spotlighted conversation strategies.
Oh, Melanie, you've got to see this. I just can't tell you how hilarious it is.
What is it?
Here, it's this video. Some guy keeps tearing pieces of paper, and his baby is laughing hysterically. Seriously, come over here and look.
Oh, that's priceless. Forward me the link, okay?
Totally.
Okay. It says, oh, Melanie, you've got to see this. When we say you've got to see this, it's like you have to see this. It's like you can't miss it. I just can't tell you how hilarious it is. What is it? Here's a video some guy keeps tearing pieces of paper. Okay, seriously? Okay, this expression we can use it in different ways depending on the intonation. We can say, as I just said, seriously, or we can also say seriously. Come over here and look. Or we can also say that's priceless. When we say that something is priceless, is that something is like very very worthy, that it can be bought with money. I mean, it's like in this case, they were talking about something that is really hilarious, so that is like extremely worthy. Okay, that's priceless. Forward me the link, okay? Okay, totally.
It's 2 o'clock.
Good. Okay, guys. This is the second part for the grammar. I want you to do this reading as we usually do, page 56 and 57 as a homework. And okay, and tomorrow with the online meeting that we're gonna have on Skype, we're gonna do the listening part here, okay? Good. So basically your homework is gonna be page 56 and 57 and 50 and 59. We do that tomorrow, okay? So let's go to page 60. It says paragraphing story with dialogue. Okay, look at this. This is basically what I was telling you. We say, with direct speech, begin a new paragraph each time you introduce a new speaker. Remember that paragraphs should be indented or should have space above them so the reader can see where the new paragraph begins. Okay, that's something that we already know. That's common sense. See when paragraphing, styling the writing model. So as you can see here, we have some space here, with which you can identify the next paragraph. Okay, punctuation of direct speech. When the reporting verb comes before a quotation, put a comma after the reporting verb. So put the second punctuation inside the quotation mark. Look, we say, Mr. Man said, comma. That's not at all funny. Period, quotation mark. Sometimes people write like quotation mark period, but no, 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 no. Everything is inside the quotation mark, okay? We write first the period and then the quotation mark, okay? Look at this, and also the comma here. So it says, when the reporting verb comes after a quotation, put a comma, question mark, or an exclamation point at the end of the quoted sentence inside the question mark. Put the speaker's name before or after the reporting verb. Look at this example. You say, please, but we open quotation marks and we say, please, don't do anything cruel, comma, in quotation mark, as in the period. When it is at the end, we write period and quotation mark, but in this case, we write comma, quotation mark, and then we say, Ms. Kane said, okay? In this case, like we can write the comma out of the quotation mark. It should be inside the quotation mark. Here it's saying, quotation mark, didn't anyone object to that mean practical joke? And in this case, as this is a question, we write the question mark inside the quotation mark, okay? Asked Carlson. Okay, it depends. That's common sense. This is just this is a command. We write a comma, or let's say it's a statement, a comma. And this is a question. We have to write the question mark and the quotation mark to ask Carlson. Okay. A reporting verb can also come between two parts of a quotation. Put quotation marks around each part of the quotation. Don't begin the second part of the quotation with a capital letter unless it begins with a sentence. Okay? So I'm gonna repeat that again. It says a reporting verb can also come between two parts of a quotation. Put quotation marks around each part of the quotation. Don't begin the second part of the quotation with a capital letter unless it begins in a sentence. Okay, that's common sense. Every time that you start in a sentence, you have to write it in capital. The first letter must be capitalized. So, as in this example, we have like two things quoted, and we have to write these two things inside quotation marks. So we open quotation marks and we say Melanie and Eleni, comma, quotation mark, Mrs. Sargent said, comma. We open quotation mark here. We say, please apologize for hurting Morgan. Okay? Okay, in this case, we use this in order to say that Mr. Sargent said, please apologize for hurting Morgan to Melanie and Elaine. Okay? So this is we use this first here in order to mention the two people that we're going to address, and then we mention the person that is going to say something to the two people that we address. Mr. Sargent said to Melanie and Elaine, please apologize for Morgan. Okay? If the reporting verb comes between complete sentences, put a period after the reporting verb. Begin the second sentence with a capital letter. It says, Peter, please apologize to Morgan. Continue, Mr. Sargent, period. You participated in that mean practical joke too, okay? We do this, in this case, we have to write a period because the reporting verb comes between two complete sentences. Okay, as you can see here. What is the reporting verb here? Continue, Mr. Morgan. Okay, so it says on a separate sheet of paper, rewrite the sentence correcting the errors in punctuation and capitalization. So I want you to check this, and then we're going to check it. Okay. So please stop the video, and then we go and check the answers. Okay, part B, it says, Norman Cousins said that he had cured himself with laughter, period. Or, Norman Cousins said, comma, I cure myself with laughter. So as you can see here, we have the reporter sentence, and we also have the indirect sentence, okay, in quotation marks. Number 2, the superiority theory, comma, our professor explained, is exemplified by finding people's mistakes funny. Okay, as you can see here, we mention what we're going to talk about, and then our professor explained, comma, is exemplified. So what the professor said or what the professor explained is in quotation marks. Okay, but be careful here. The period is inside the quotation mark, and here the comma is as well inside the quotation mark. Number 3, the joke was really cruel, comma, quotation mark, said Claire. They shouldn't have played it. So in this case, we write a period because the reporting verb is in the middle. Okay, you remember? Okay. Number 4, does that example illustrate the incongruity theory? So asked John. Good. So in this case, it's different. In this case, we don't write a comma, but we write a question mark because in this case it is a question. It's not. Because in that case it's a question. It's not a statement. It's not a sentence. Okay. That's John. Okay, number 5. I learned about all kinds of humor in my psychology class. Comma, quotation, said my sister. So in this case, it's just something that someone is saying, that someone has said. In this case, it was this person's sister who said, I learned about all kinds of humor in my psychology class. Okay, so in this case, as it is a statement, we just write a comma quotation, and then we write the reported verb, said my sister. Okay, so we're gonna do exercise C, please. Exercise C, it says, on a separate sheet of paper, write the following indirect speech statements in direct speech, using correct punctuation for dialogue. So once again, stop the video, do the exercise, and then we continue. Okay, in exercise C, we say, number 1, Dr. Summers stated, comma, positive emotions can have a direct effect on emotional and physical health, period, quotation. Number 2, a psychologist told me, comma, open quotation marks, many people believe that Norman Cousins' book popularized the idea that laughter can be helpful in treating illness, period, quotation mark. Number 3, she said, comma, quotation mark, practical jokes come from our need to feel superior to others, period, quotation mark. Number 4, Ms. Barton insisted, comma, open quotation mark, traditional medicine is more effective than laughter therapy, period, quotation mark. Number 5, our professor asked, comma, open quotation mark, is there any specific evidence that laughter can treat illness? So in this case it is a question, we write a question mark and then we close quotation mark. Okay? So if you have any question, once again, you can ask. You can feel free to ask. We're gonna also do the review here, which is the next page, 61. Okay, I want you to do exercise B, exercise C, exercise D. Okay, we're gonna check exercise D. It says, complete your statement about kinds of jokes. A dirty joke is a joke that is about sex. That's on the reading page, like the definition for each kind of joke. So yeah, we say in English, a dirty joke is something that is about sex. A sexist is a joke that is insulting to all men and to all women. Okay, when the joke discriminates, like men and women. And number 3, a joke that's insulting to all people of a certain nationality is an ethnic. Like in the case of the conversation, the French girl with the American guys that they were offended and all that stuff. You remember? So that's an ethnic joke. And when we joke about government candidates for elections and political stuff, then we say that it's a political joke. And a practical joke is when a joke, okay, it says a joke that plays a trick on someone to make him or her the bottom of the joke is a practical joke. Okay, that's a normal joke that we have. Okay, when you choose one person, then you start like joking around that person or joking around with something this person did or something like that. But it's not really offensive. It's just a practical joke. It's something that we do with friends and or with people that we have confidence. Okay, so don't forget this. So we have dirty jokes, sexist joke, ethnic joke, political joke, and practical jokes. So okay, we're gonna listen to 3 examples of jokes. After each one, complete a statement about it and listen again if necessary. But we're gonna check if it's true. The bottom of the joke is John, or the joke it's funny because we're gonna see if that's true. Okay. Section.
Listen to 3 examples of jokes. After each one, complete the statement about it. Listen again if necessary. 1.
So, I have this friend Mark who loves to play practical jokes. He had a friend named John who was very cheap. I mean, John hated to spend money and he was always looking for a bargain. Well, there's this hamburger restaurant. It's called Bargain Burger. That's very, very inexpensive. The burgers cost almost nothing, but of course they're tiny little things. So Mark wanted to play a joke on John. Mark went to the Bargain Burger and told the manager he wanted to play a joke on a friend and asked the manager if she could prepare 2 special huge hamburgers if Mark paid for them in advance. The manager said sure. Then Mark paid the manager and said he was coming in for lunch with a friend and that the manager should just serve them the huge burgers and bring them a check at the regular low price. That afternoon, Mark and John had the 2 large hamburgers for lunch. When the check came, John was very surprised at how cheap the hamburgers were. In fact, he was so happy about the bargain that he told 2 other friends about the great bargains on huge hamburgers at Bargain Burger, and they all went there for lunch the next day. Well, of course, the burgers they ordered were tiny little things, which made John look really stupid in front of his friends. I think it was mean, but it was kind of funny.
Two.
Did you hear the one about the intelligence test?
No, how does it go?
One day, this guy comes home and his wife says, "Wasn't today the day everyone at the company was supposed to take an intelligence test?" He says, "Yes, that's right." "Well," she says, "did you take the test too?" "Absolutely," he says. So she asks him, "How'd you do?" So he says, "Well, let me put it to you this way. It's a good thing I own the company."
3.
How many letters are in the alphabet?
26.
Wrong. There are 11 letters in the alphabet.
I don't get it.
11 letters. T-H-E-A-L-P-H-A-B-E-T.
Okay, so number one, it says the butt of the joke is John, which is true. The joke is funny because we are surprised at his response, and obviously the joke is an example of a verbal joke. So, as a homework, you're gonna have exercise B and exercise C, okay guys? So this is the end of the second video for today. I'm gonna be sending a third video. Okay, not the third video, more videos, okay? But I'm gonna try to keep a sequence, especially in the units like that we have so far. Like first video for unit number 5, second video for unit number 5, and then the third video for unit number 5, 4, 5, whatever. And then we're gonna have the same for unit number 6 and number 7. If things get worse, then maybe we get graduated here online. You know, you receive your diploma in front of the camera or something like that. I saw on TikTok videos, like some TikTok videos have shown. So so I really hope that you don't go through this situation. As you can see here, I'm uploading the first video. It's missing like 4 minutes. So guys, okay, thank you for your commitment with all this situation that the country is going through, and see you tomorrow. Please see you students from 7 to 9, see you at 7, students from 9 to 11, see you at 11 o'clock, okay? So thank you guys, bye.